Hi, we're a couple of board gamers and today we're reviewing Terracotta Army.
Terracotta Army is a worker placement Euro game for 2 to 4 players.
It uses craftsmen to get resources to build your Terracotta Army in Emperor's Tomb, and it takes about 2.5 hours. So how does it score?
For theme, we give it 5 out of 5. It's a really unique theme and everything you do really brings you into like a connection with the game and the Terracotta Army, and it's done really well. The placement of the miniatures is really satisfying.
So how does it play? The worker placement adds strategy, it's satisfying, you build statues, you place them in the tomb, and it's fairly rewarding and competitive, but beyond that there's not a lot else, so we've rated it a 4.
So for complexity and depth, we've scored it a 3. That's because the things that we just mentioned are unique and they are good and satisfying, but worker placement is in a lot of games, and beyond placing the workers and building the statue, there isn't a whole lot else going on. Plus, when you are building those statues, you have to think a lot about the scoring, which isn't as intuitive as maybe it could be. So you spend a lot of time thinking about the scoring of one particular statue, and then you're not thinking about the rest of the game.
It was also really complex to score as well right at the end. Getting game scoring was, it took some time to do.
So 3.
So the fun factor of the game, it was pretty fun to play, but there was a lot around, so that kind of took away from it a little bit. And at the end you were kind of fatigued, you were scoring really complex scoring, and it was we both kind of felt we don't really want to play this game straight away again, so 3.
There is a less complex scoring rules, but I think if you have to offer that and the default experience is too complex for most people to enjoy, then that's a reason it drops down a little bit.
So when's it for?
I think for when you as a couple are looking for a little bit more complex, more involved of a game with a little bit of competition, especially like us, if you were into the theme of the game, Terracotta Army, that makes a big difference, but it's when you want a much longer, more involved, heavier game. So overall, 3.75. It's not a bad game by any stretch, but it isn't a game we will be rushing to get back out onto the table. I can see us playing it again. There were a couple of issues with like the miniatures get a little bit bent in the box, there's no insert or anything like that, but it's a good game, it's just not one that we'll be rushing back to the table.